always
We ask the questions.
what is needed in the world.
Is that going to be?
For 5 years, Greece has been mired in economic crisis, haunted by the spectre of expulsion from the Eurozone.
The programme will expire on Tuesday night.
Brexit seemed closer than ever this summer, until a last-minute deal with the creditors, the IMF, the European Central Bank and other Eurozone countries kept Greece in, but at the cost of more painful austerity and a humiliating further loss in sovereignty. The grim figures of Greece's Great Depression are well known. A 25% contraction in the economy, youth unemployment at over 50%. And yet, life goes on for most Greeks, more constrained than before, but not without pleasures and joys. I went to a very ordinary Athenian neighbourhood, Nea Smyrni, to see how Greeks are getting by, to hear their hopes and fears, for Talk to Jazeera. The bailout agreement this summer will affect all Greeks, but two particular segments of the population are especially worried. Pensioners fear further cuts, and small business owners like bakers and pharmacists will face more competition. So, we decided to check out the reality here. The first person who we're going to visit on our Athens neighbourhood tour is a pensioner, and her name is Sandy Karaiskou, and she's 68 years old, and she lives right here in this apartment block. Sandy is divorced and lives alone, but family is important to Greeks, and Sandy is very close to her sisters and their children. She used to work as a hostess for Olympic Airways, the Greek national airline, which always flirted with financial disaster and eventually went bust in 2009.
Sandy, thank you very much for speaking to us. Can you tell me, the last 5 years have seen dramatic changes here in Greece. How has your life changed in the last 5 years?
Δεν θα κλαφτώ πολύ. Συνήθως στην Ελλάδα τον πόνο μας τον εχορεύουμε. Και εγώ προσπαθώ να μην σταματήσω να χορεύω. Έχει αλλάξει δραματικά η ζωή μας. Εγώ δεν το πολύ καταλαβαίνω. Γιατί ευτυχώς είχα μέτρο στη ζωή μου. Και δεν έφυγα περισσότερο, δεν τράβηξα το σκηνή περισσότερο από εκεί που έπρεπε. Οι γύρω μου, πολλοί από τους γύρω μου, ξέφυγαν, γιατί ήταν οι τράπεζες που μας έπαιρναν τηλέφωνο συνέχεια και έλεγαν πάρε αυτά τα χρήματα για να πας ωραίες διακοπές. Πάρε αυτά τα χρήματα να να πάρεις ένα πολύ ακριβό αυτοκίνητο που το ονειρεύεσαι. Και πέσανε στο λάθος και είναι εκείνη τώρα που η τράπεζα ήθελε πάρα πολύ, ενοχλούσαν, δεν μπορείτε να φανταστείτε σε τι σημείο. Δηλαδή έπρεπε να είσαι πολύ σκληρός για να τους πεις σταματήστε να μου τηλεφωνείτε, δεν θέλω να έχω κάρτες. Βρέθηκαν άνθρωποι που ήταν με μισθό, ξέρω εγώ, 1.000 ευρώ, 500 ευρώ, να έχουν 30 κάρτες.
Sure, but when I look at your apartment here, Sandy, this is a beautiful apartment.
Σε ευχαριστώ.
Is life really so bad for you now?
Αυτό το διαμέρισμα που λέτε ότι είναι ωραίο και σας ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ, είναι το 1/4 από το διαμέρισμα που είχα πριν από την κρίση.
So you sold...
Πούλησα το μεγάλο μου το σπίτι γιατί είδα ότι τώρα πια είμαι μόνη μου, δεν έχω την οικογένεια, δεν μου χρειάζεται ένα μεγάλο σπίτι. Ήρθα εδώ που είμαι πολύ κοντά στο κέντρο και περισσότερο ήταν τα έξοδα. Δεν φανταζόμουν όμως ποτέ ότι θα φτάσω σε τέτοιο σημείο τώρα, που είμαι μια χαρά σε σύγκριση με άλλο κόσμο.
Let me ask the specifics of how you survive. You're a pensioner. If I may ask, how much is your pension each month?
Κανένα πρόβλημα, είναι γύρω στα 1.000 ευρώ, γιατί είχα πολύ καλή δουλειά. Αλλά νομίζω ότι δεν θα τα έβγαζα ιδιαίτερα και ζητώ συγγνώμη από τον κόσμο που πιθανότατα να παίρνει μικρότερη σύνταξη. Γιατί...
And you spend all of that €1,000 every month?
Ναι. Βοηθιέμαι. Έχω ένα σπίτι που ενοικιάζω και είναι αυτό που με έχει κάνει να μην έχω καταλάβει ακόμα να μην πάω στον τενεκέ ή να ζητήσω από την εκκλησία ή από το κράτος να μου δώσει φαγητό. Δόξα τω Θεώ, όμως ζω πολύ μετρημένα. Δεν φταίει ο κόσμος που περνάει αυτό το κακό. Φταίνε αυτοί που κυβερνούν. Αυτοί πιστεύω ότι ήταν μεγάλο λάθος και από εμάς που τους εκλέξαμε. Όλοι τα τελευταία, όχι 5 χρόνια, τα τελευταία 20 χρόνια, γιατί μας μάθανε να ζούμε ψεύτικα.
But concentrating on your case, Sandy, as an example, you're 68. When did you retire? How old were you when you retired?
Άλλο λάθος ελεεινό αυτό. Στα 42. Είχα δουλέψει 25 χρόνια και...
So if you retired at 42, there would be many people who would say, with all respect, you are part of the problem. This is where Greece went wrong. So many people retired at such an extraordinary age.
Ναι, συμφωνώ απόλυτα μαζί σας. Είναι λάθος. Απλώς ο συνδικαλισμός, οι κυβερνώντες για να πάρουν ψήφους, είπανε για τη δουλειά τη δική μου, στα 25 χρόνια πλέον είσαι πολύ μεγάλη για να ταξιδεύεις με το αεροπλάνο και δεν θέλανε, πάρα πολλοί κόσμος δεν θέλανε ή δεν θέλαμε.
You were working for Olympic Airways then. But I'm sure there would be Germans or Dutch people would be watching this going, my God, you retired at 42. This is what is wrong with Greece.
Και αυτό που σας λέω, τα πληρώνουμε τώρα. Γιατί ήταν κι άλλοι που πάλι με άλλους νόμους βγήκανε στα 10 χρόνια δουλειάς ή έλεγε εγώ είμαι μαμά και δεν έχω σύζυγο ή ξέρετε το παιδί μου είναι με πολύ βαριά ασθένεια, πρέπει να πάρω σύνταξη και δίνανε. Όλα αυτά πιστεύω ότι έγιναν για να ξαναβγούν οι ίδιοι να κυβερνούν και να κάνουν και να κάνουν. Και που φτάσαμε τώρα σε αυτό το σημείο. Γιατί?
So the whole system was rotten. It was
είναι λάθος και τώρα. Τώρα χρειάζεται η πατρίδα μου, χρειάζεται να πάρει γενναίες αποφάσεις και να πει δεν θα φάμε τίποτα, δεν θα πάμε πουθενά, θα καθίσουμε στο σπίτι μας, θα δουλέψουμε τη γη μας ή θα δουλέψουμε καθένα στη δουλειά του περισσότερο, δεν θα κάνουμε πονηριές του παρελθόντος και σε 5-10 χρόνια τα παιδιά μας θα ζήσουν καλά. Ποιος θα το κάνει όμως αυτό?
Well, I suppose my question then is, when you have countries like Germany or institutions like the IMF saying, Greece, you must do this, you must do that, do you have some sympathy with them? Do you think that they are right to impose these conditions on Greece?
Πιστεύω ότι έχουν δίκιο οι άνθρωποι αυτοί, γιατί έχουν μάθει στην τάξη και στον νόμο. Δεν ξέρω γιατί έτσι ξεστρατήσαμε τόσο πολύ. Οι άνθρωποι έχουν δίκιο και εγώ πιστεύω ότι έχουν δίκιο, γιατί αν εγώ σας πω, ξέρετε, θέλω να μου δώσετε αυτά τα χρήματα γιατί δεν έχω να πληρώσω αυτό ή εκείνο και εσείς μου τα δώσετε γιατί με εμπιστευτήκατε και εγώ σου πω, δεν στα δίνω, είναι λογικό, δεν είναι ωραίο, γιατί μετά χάνω τη φιλία σας, χάνω την εκτίμησή σας. Αφού λοιπόν καλός ή κακός δηλαδή, δανειστήκαμε όλα αυτά τα ποσά. Πρέπει να τα δώσουμε.
Sandy, we're going to have a look round your neighbourhood now of Nea Smyrni. We're going to meet your baker, your pharmacist. How has this neighbourhood changed in the last 5 years?
Για το φίλο μου τον κύριο Δημήτρη, το φούρναρι, δεν νομίζω ότι θα έχει πρόβλημα, γιατί είτε έχεις είτε δεν έχεις, το ψωμί σου το φας. Ο φαρμακοποιός θα πει, γιατί ο κόσμος πήγαινε στα φαρμακεία και δεν είχε χρήματα να πληρώσει και έτσι πολλά φαρμακεία κλείσανε.
We venture out to see for ourselves what's really going on around here. And I have the perfect guide who seems to know just about everyone. So Sandy is showing me around her Athens neighbourhood. It's called Nea Smyrni. That means New Smyrni. And it takes its name from the town of Smyrni, today called Izmir in Turkey, where many Greek people were forced to leave as refugees back in the 1920s, and they settled in this area. Today it's a middle-class neighbourhood. in Athens, and Sandy is going to introduce me now to her baker, Dimitri. And I think he's been running his bakery here for some 15, 18 years. So let's go and meet Dimitri now. Dimitri's Papa Vassilios business keeps him very busy, as well as his family. His wife and 2 grown-up children also work here, although they're taking a short summer break. No such luck for him, as he struggles to keep his business afloat. He's seen a drastic plunge in his income since the crisis began.
Dimitri, you're running your bakery in the middle of an economic crisis. Can it survive? Will it stay open?
Βεβαίως, θα μείνει ανοιχτή με δυσκολία. Κάνουμε αγώνα μεγάλο, 20 ώρες το 24ωρο, με πολύ κόπο. Έχουμε ξεχάσει τι πάει να πει οικογένεια και είμαστε μέρα νύχτα εδώ. Και ευτυχώς, τώρα τελευταία, κάναμε και δίπλα το μαγαζί με τον καφέ. Και κρατιέμαστε σε καλό επίπεδο ακόμα, προς το παρόν. Από όταν μπήκαν τα capital control, η κατάσταση έχει συρρικνωθεί. Αλλά πάντα ελπίζουμε.
And you have, I think, some 6 people who work for you. Have you had to lay anyone off, or have you managed to keep all your staff here?
Δεν μπορούμε να πουλήσουμε κανέναν γιατί έχουν οικογένειες και έχουν ανάγκες. Γι' αυτό κάθομαι εγώ εδώ μέρα νύχτα να μπορέσουμε να επιβιώσουμε. Είναι μια δύσκολη κατάσταση. Ο Θεός δεν θα μας αφήσει έτσι. Θα μας δώσει ζωή και ζωντάνια. Όταν είσαι υγιής δεν φοβάσαι τίποτα.
Can I ask about Alexis Tsipras, your Prime Minister? Do you think he's somebody who is standing up for your country, who's doing a good job, or do you think he is somebody who is steering your country towards a disaster?
Ο πρωθυπουργός μας, ο Τσίπρας, είναι ένα παλικάρι. Θέλω να πιστεύω ότι θα πάει πολύ καλά. Για αν το στηρίξουν οι βουλευτές του, αλλά υπάρχει και οι πλατφόρμες Α2 και 3. Εάν στηριχτεί, είναι ο σωτήρας μας. Εάν δεν στηριχτεί, θα έχουμε μεγάλο πρόβλημα, θα πάμε και για άλλο μνημόνιο και εκεί. Η Ελλάδα δεν μπορεί να σηκώσει κεφάλι, γιατί δεν μας αφήνουν.
So are you saying that this mess is not the fault of the Greeks themselves, this disastrous situation that you're in?
Οι προηγούμενες κυβερνήσεις δεν κάνανε τα προαπαιτούμενα, τις μεταρρυθμίσεις που έπρεπε. Και τώρα, αυτή τη στιγμή, έγινε ένα βουνό.
But can you understand how people in Germany might feel if they've contributed towards, I think Greece has borrowed 240 billion euros since these bailouts began. They have the right to demand some reforms in return for this money.
Οι Γερμανοί και όλοι οι δανειστές μας δεν μας τα χαρίσαν τα χρήματα που δώσαν. Τα πήραν με μεγάλο... Η Ελλάδα δουλεύει για τους δανειστές, για τους τοκογλύφους. Για αυτούς δουλεύουμε. Έχουμε τώρα 5 χρόνια και δεν ξέρω πόσα χρόνια θα πάμε. Γιατί είμαστε ένα μικρό ψαράκι. Μας αφήνουν να πάμε μέχρι εκεί το ψάρι. Αν μεγαλώσουμε λίγο, τελείωσε. Δεν έχουμε ζωή.
Some of the reforms that the creditors are asking for even affect your business. Bakers, for example, until now, I think loaves of bread have had to weigh a certain amount in Greece, and they're saying that this area should be liberalized. Wouldn't that be a good thing, some deregulation?
Η αρτοπία έχει απελευθερωθεί από το 1990. Αυτή τη στιγμή ο φούρνος και ψωμί πουλέται παντού. Στα περίπτερα, στα βιτζινάδικα, στις γειτονιές, στην Κάβα, στα ψιλικατζίδικα. Ψωμί υπάρχει. Τι άλλο είναι χειρότερο να κάνω. Έρχονται οι άνθρωποι με τα καφέ, τα κερματάκια, τα μικρά, το 5, 10, 1 λεπτό να πάρουν μια φρατζόλα ψωμί. Αυτό δεν υπήρχε εδώ και 20 χρόνια, 30.
What about you, Dimitri? Are you planning to retire, or will you carry on working? What are your plans for the future?
Σύνταξη, τελείωσε σύνταξη. πάνω από 65-70 χρονών. Εγώ είμαι 54. Αν και έχω τώρα 35 με 40 χρόνια στην αρτοποιία, ακόμα το μέλλον μου είναι δύσκολο. Έχω χρόνια πολλά στην πλάτη για δουλειά. Μ' αρέσει η δουλειά, την αγαπάω. Την αγαπάω και αυτή με αγαπάει. Άραγε δεν έχω πρόβλημα, δεν με κουράζει. Και όποιος θέλει να το βοηθήσω, με πολύ χαρά. Να το δώσω μια γνώμη που ξέρω, πολύ ευχαρίστω.
Thank you very much, Dimitri. Ευχαριστώ
Παρακαλώ.
πολύ. Γεια σας.
Καλά.
Okay, πολύ καλά.
On to the next interview, but first, our visit in this neighbourhood is in the middle of August. It's a hot time here in Athens, kids cooling down in the public fountain, and Sandy can't resist.
Oh no, Sandy! Oh my God! You've cooled down now. Yeah.
So now that we've met Dimitri, the bakery, had a little look around the neighbourhood, we're on our way to see the pharmacist, and his name is Pyros. And pharmacies have been very much at the centre of the economic crisis, so it will be interesting to see what Pyros has to say.
Pyros's father opened this pharmacy in 1989. He took it over in 2003. Greece has more pharmacies per capita than any other country in the EU, and the pharmacies have a monopoly on the sale of over-the-counter drugs. They're one of the closed professions that the creditors would like to open up to competition. The pharmacists say this will result in thousands of job losses and a worse service for Greeks who are already vulnerable because of difficulties in the National Health Service.
You've been running your pharmacy for 12 years now,
12
I think.
years so far, yes.
Is it going to survive, or do you feel you can't carry on under these conditions?
I'm not very optimistic, but I think it's going to survive. But it depends, because this pharmacy is like middle from its turnover. It's like in the middle scale. So I think middle scale to upper scale pharmacies, they will survive. But from mid to lower scales, I don't think they can.
I mean, I've seen some projections that maybe 10, 11,000 pharmacies in Greece could go out of business.
Yeah, not 10, 11. My estimate, I think 3 to 4. I mean, it's going to be about half left.
But one of the big reforms that the creditors are pushing for specifically involves pharmacies. They want the sector to open up. They want lots of ordinary shops to be able to sell over-the-counter drugs. Is that a good thing? They say it will give Greek people more freedom.
First of all, more freedom on whatever they want to buy at any time they want to buy it. That means supermarkets which are open, I don't know, 12, 15 hours a day.
Sure.
That is one thing. But on the other hand, you need to, be aware of the health of the population. I mean, who's going to give those people in the supermarkets health directions on how they use and interaction with those over-the-counter drugs, but they still are drugs.
So we might lose that connection between, you as a neighbourhood pharmacist and people like Sandy, the people you know
Exactly,
around you.
exactly. And as a business, it's around about 20% of the turnover, the monthly turnover, those over-the-counter. And also, it gives a small business the opportunity of more customers to come in if you lose that 20%. Because they come in, they buy an over-the-counter drug, and maybe they will buy something else.
But if I was from the IMF and I said, Pyros, let's face it, there are far too many pharmacies in Greece. This has been a protected industry for too long. Would you have some sympathy with that?
In a sense, yes. And I think all these pharmacies opened up between the period of maybe 97, not all of them, but a lot of them, about 2,000 to 3,000 pharmacies opened up because of this economy bubble that bursted. So unfortunately, these 2, 3, 4,000 will close.
And the allegation, well, I'm sure there's some truth behind it, is that there was quite a lot of corruption in how pharmacy licenses were given out.
Corruption in how pharmacy licenses, I don't think so.
You didn't pay a bribe for your license?
No, I didn't pay a bribe for my license. Well, I inherited from my dad. I didn't inherit, but I was given it from my father, who's a pensioner at the moment. So I think it's all these licenses are legal. They exist because they're legal. Nobody paid off some public sector employee to buy it. There's a certain, legislations for it. 1 per 1,000 citizens. At the moment, that's the only one left. That's one pharmacy per 1,000 citizens. So if you divide Greece, one pharmacy license per 1,000 citizens, that's 10,000.
And generally that process happened above board, correctly?
Generally, yes. I mean, I don't know if 5 or 7% that it might have been corrupted, but generally, yes.
What do you think about the future now? I mean, it's been a turbulent few months for Greece.
Turbulent 5 years, but...
Turbulent 5 years. Are you passionate that this country should stay in the Eurozone?
I would be passionate if I was given a certain plan that the Troika, the IMF, this plan that they're proposing is actually going to work in the next 30 to 40 years. But
you don't believe in that plan?
I don't think so.
Pyrrhos, I think you have 2 very young children, 5 and 3 years old. Do you think that they will have a future in Greece, or might you be advising them when they get a little bit older to look abroad?
Quite possible. I don't know. It's 50-50. I don't know. We have to see. We have to see what's going to happen. I mean, my children are 3 and 5, so till they get 16, 17, 18, I don't know how this country is going to look like.
Countries like Germany that have lent Greece so much money, they have the right to ask for some tough reforms in return, don't they?
Of course they do, because this money that they lend us, and when we used it, I don't know if obviously not wisely, but we used it. So I understand that we need to pay it back, but the problem is that there is a humanitarian crisis at the moment, because we're almost like 1.5 to 2 million unemployed people, and with these new measures, I think there's going to be more than that, 2.5, 3 million unemployed people. In a small country like this, it can't go on.
Yeah, I can see that you have a rapport with your customers. You seem to know everybody by name.
Well, basically, I'm born and bred. I was born just around the corner. They leave debts and they pay them at the end of the month when they get their pension. I don't think like a small chain or a supermarket will do that.
So sometimes somebody might come in here and say, Pyrrhos, sorry, I'm just going to have to pay you next week.
No, not next week, the end of the month.
The end of the month, and you let that happen?
30% of my customers, pensioners, 35, they do that.
They do that, and you allow that to happen?
I allow it, unfortunately. I mean, it has
This gets to the heart of the Greek crisis. The country is being dragged towards a more efficient market economy. This will bring more choice and hopefully less corruption and more opportunities. But it will also create a more impersonal Greece, where shop owners don't give credit to pensioners they've known for years. A colder Greece. And that is sad.
You have the opportunity to buy very good quality, but second hand.
Sandy is taking me to the Laiki, the weekly street market that's such an integral part of Athenian life. It's become even more important in the crisis. The farmers who sell their produce here will offer it very cheaply or even for free if they still have fresh fruit and vegetables at the end of the day.
No, we want to pay. Well, this is very Greek. We're trying to pay, and he's saying it's a gift. We should go away. He doesn't want our money. Well, Sandy, thank you for showing us around your neighborhood.
Thank you. I'm so happy to meet you.
It's been great. I think we've had an insight into how different kinds of people in Greece are existing in the crisis in what is a very ordinary Athens neighborhood. Not especially rich, not especially poor, but you've got an insight, I hope, into the difficulties, but of course, how life carries on in this country as well.
Summer in Greece is a seductive, sun-filled time of year. But in all those apartment buildings below, in almost every single home, there are stories of hardship, of anxiety and worry.